Hi there. Hi, Women Who Lead with Heart. This is Jo Zuleika coming on for my Sunday Night Live. If you're joining me live, throw me an emoji or a hi. And if you're watching on the replay, give me a hashtag replay just so I know who's out there. So delighted to join with you tonight. Tonight's topic is on vulnerability and imperfection. And it's really just a really personal story that I thought I would share with you, both as a teaching, but as a metaphor for how we are as leaders. So you ready? Here goes. So what I had hinted at in our group was that this past week I had just a huge vulnerability episode. And that episode was medical. I was facilitating a leadership workshop in California, not in my home state. So I was on a business trip. And during that visit, during the workshop, I started to have chest pain. Like, oh shit. I started to have just some really weird, uncharacteristic, new, painful feelings arise, physical feelings, that were kind of classic symptoms that you don't want to have. I was having chest pain, tension in my chest, and shooting pains up into my left shoulder. Not good. And the first time I experienced it, I kind of was like internally thinking like, that's weird. And I just sort of was silently paying attention. And the second time that it happened, I felt like I got like this sober feeling, like this deep feeling of like this, like something's not right. I need help. Maybe something close to panic. Like, what do I do? And so I reached out to a friend of mine who luckily was there. It was a very small group that was in the facilitated workshop conference room at that time. It was during a break. And I reached out to a friend of mine, really tight friend, and I said, sit with me. And she instantly saw something was wrong. And so she came alongside and was with me. And rapidly things progressed to me being seen by some local paramedics, then me being transported to an urgent care facility that was nearby, and then finally an ambulance ride to a local ER. Just like more than I really wanted or needed. And I honestly, at that point of the drama, felt like things were kind of righting themselves and that I was basically okay. But chest pain isn't something anybody wants to dilly-dally with, and they all really encouraged me to take it as seriously as possible and go get seen. And so listening to, the wiser members of my tribe who were around me, I went ahead and took that ambulance ride and then ended up spending the rest of the afternoon in an ER, hooked up to a 12K EKG lead, 12 lead EKG, monitoring my heart. And like this, the punchline is nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong. I did not have a heart attack. I'm not about to have a heart attack. Nothing about my symptoms pointed towards, ischemia or reduced blood flow to the heart or a blockage, or, they did all sorts of batteries of tests and cleared me from having any sort of heart episode. And it was only far later, after other tests were done, that it was realized it was a nerve pain with referred pain shooting up into my shoulder, and it has nothing to do with my heart. So that's really reassuring to know. But the fallout of it was just so public. And I had heard through the grapevine that after I had left the area, one of the facilitators stood up and told everybody what had happened to me. And I was really upset about that. I didn't feel like it was appropriate to make a group announcement that I was having chest pain. Nobody asked me if that was okay. Nobody said, do you mind if we all, if I let people know why you had to depart? I would have appreciated clearing that first, but that wasn't my choice. And then it turned out that many other people found out through gossip or through the, just the chain of communication. And that didn't feel okay either. I wasn't I wasn't prepared for how public and how sort of like subterranean the news would spread, and that people would find out and people would have, obviously reasonable concerns for me and lovely well wishes for me. And so on one side, I really felt honored and held by people who wanted me to know that they were thinking of me. But on the other side, I was actually feeling really resistant and upset that people were finding out when it turned out to be nothing. I felt very vulnerable. I felt very exposed. I felt like people were talking about me. I felt like it wasn't okay with me. Let me know if that resonates for any of you. I'm not a terribly private person. I'm out here. I'm doing this with you right now. I share a lot about myself, but this one triggered a deep feeling of privacy and sort of propriety. Like, that's not really anybody's business. They can say any number of things about why I had to depart early, but they didn't need to give the whole story that they didn't even know how it was going to end. And again, I know that it was totally out of kindness and out of support and out of a general sense for people to want to do for me, right? But it was really mixed feelings for me about having everyone know, Joe's been admitted to the hospital with chest pain. That just wasn't really what I thought was great for everyone to know in that moment. So anyway, what I came to find out was you can't really control what people say. You never can. Any illusion that you could was always false. Even now, there are people who have any number of feelings towards me as a leader, as a person, as a woman, as a human being. I can't control that. I can't control what they say about me or what they think about me. It's not my doing. It's not my deal. Hi, Angela. So if you're just tuning in, I was just dropping a big bomb about what happened to me this last week, and you'll have to listen to the replay. But the take home for me was that even though I was so resistant and so sort of even mad that this news became so public and it was so sort of part of the rumor mill, what the outshoot of it was an amazing new level of compassion and intimacy and connection that I never would have seen coming. So let me explain what happened. Even though I didn't share my news with anybody, but it kind of got out, I had in rapid succession people come to me, very private people who are in my life come to me and share with me almost like a waterfall of letting out something that they really wanted me to know. One friend who I've known for more than 1 decade, maybe more than 2 decades, shared with me that he's been wanting to tell me that he's having real difficulty in his marriage, and that actually he's moved out of the home that he shares with his wife, and he hadn't told me yet, and very few people know. And just knowing that I had gone through something so sort of piercing to the very depths of human condition, life and death, just knowing that I had experienced something like that opened up such a channel of compassion and openness in him that he wanted to share with me. And it floored me because I had no idea that this had been going on. He said for almost 2 years he's been having this go on in his marriage, and that he's moved out, and that it was there were just so many things for me to process there, that he felt so open and so vulnerable and so capable of being vulnerable with me because he felt some sort of kinship of being seen. That, I had been through something that was very deeply personal and exposing, and he just felt compelled to share with me without even me prompting it. It was almost like in a hug, he said, I want to talk to you about something that's been going on with me. And I'm like, great. So that was curious and warm and encouraging and sort of mystifying. And then later on that same day, another man in my life, also incredibly guarded, a very personal, private, discreet, hard to read man that I've known for 15 years or more, who is very cautious about how much he shares, who's been through leadership workshops with me and basically provided nothing. He won't say anything. He won't share publicly anything. You know my style, the way that I'll facilitate a workshop and we'll be talking about like the things that motivate our leadership and where our soft spots are. Just a total shutdown from this one guy. It's just not how he's comfortable rolling. He's very uncomfortable being seen. He's very uncomfortable sharing anything. Out of the blue, he shares with me 2 incredibly vulnerable stories about both a health scare that he had experienced that he's very private about, and then a story about when he was 18 years old, probably 30 years ago, a story about how he got in trouble with the law and how this whole thing kind of went on his record, and how terribly ashamed he was of having sort of this weird set of circumstances occur when he was 18. And it all had to do with me and my fake false alarm. But it was just fascinating to me that like 2 of the most reserved, closed, emotionally unavailable, tight-lipped men that I know stepped forward to me when they heard that I had this health scare in a desire to connect with me. So there's this, I don't know if any of you are familiar with Brene Brown's work, but she's an absolute goddess and a researcher and a storyteller. And she has one of her first books is called The Gifts of Imperfection. And it's a wonderful read, and it has basically the 10 steps that we all can take to just embrace vulnerability and our imperfections in a courageous way, that just doing that is courageous and assists in our ability to be the leaders that we're meant to be, by not having to hustle and shroud and cover up the things that we're not proud of or the things that we're not really comfortable showing, that we can actually just be our most authentic selves. We can be our flawed selves. We can be our imperfect, maybe even frail selves. And it's okay. It's actually more than okay. It's the necessary piece to being effective as a human being, as a friend, a partner, a mother, a coworker, a boss, a leader. That when we try to pretend like we don't have these weaknesses or frailties or mistakes or imperfections, we're screwing up because we're busy like getting in front of us being who we are with these masks and these kind of armors that we, paste on to prevent feeling weak and prevent looking lesser than, when the truth is we're just who we are, and all of us share the same human condition, and all of us have our brilliance and our soft spots, and we ought to just get busy shining our brilliance and stop worrying so much about whether or not our soft squishy underbelly is showing. Doesn't matter. We all got one. All of them are different. We need to be compassionate and tolerant with ourselves so that we don't spend all our energy trying to, buttress up our weaknesses to head out into the world. It doesn't make us any better. It actually makes us a ton weaker, because nobody can really feel who you are if you're busy trying to be, a whitewashed version of yourself, a cleaned up, no flawed, no visible, scars, nothing marring the exterior. When you try to put that aspect of yourself out there, you're spending a lot of energy playing a part, and you're not really being or developing your most brilliant self, like who you really are. Does that resonate for you? So what did I learn? I learned that you can't control the narrative about your life. I thought that it was unfair that the narrative of my life was being told by someone else. Basically, that people were talking about the fact that I was admitted to an ER with chest pain without my consent, and feeling really righteous and indignant about that, like pissed off that people were knowing that. To realizing that in the knowing of that, people in my life swam towards me and wanted to like jump in my lap and share their most private, painful, secret truths. Because something about me being that exposed and vulnerable made them feel safe. So how can I want to be controlling the narrative and wanting to buttress against my flaws and have people know things about me? How can I try to make things perfect when my imperfection brought intimacy? I was like wanting the wrong thing. I was wanting control instead of reality. So it's still a process for me, I have to admit. I still feel a little upset when people that I haven't talked to in a long time are emailing me saying, hey, I heard about your chest pain. How you doing? I'm like, like not okay. Thanks. I'm still struggling with that. But I know deep down that that's actually the title of my whole group, right, people? I am a woman who leads with her heart. I am saying it is okay to be a feeling person who is a leader. It's actually, we can't be any other way. And I think the most effective leaders are in touch with their emotions, their frailties, their worries, their doubts, their whole selves. That's how they're capable of standing aligned with other people. That's how they're capable of, holding space when other people are feeling any range of emotion. That the really emotionally intelligent leader is capable of feeling and is capable of not being in control and standing in that space competently, comfortably, without trying to, shore up the sides and make yourself look good. So, what do you want to do? Are you curious about how you could become a leader like that? Are you wanting more for yourself in terms of being an authentic leader who feels like, I've got this. It doesn't matter what they say. I know myself. I can stand tall. A feeling of confidence, an irresolute feeling of no matter what, I can live with myself. I can look at myself in the mirror and know I'm good, I do well, I mean well, and I'm proud of myself. If you're ready to do that kind of inner work on your own self as a leader, then you gotta call me. I've just started my February group. It's a private leadership group for select women. I only take a small group at a time. It's by application only. It's for women who want to level up, who want that confidence, who want to feel like they're living their better selves, that they are leveling up their leadership in their lives. They want the lessons, they want the support, they want the coaching, they want the training to be the leaders that they know deep down inside they're capable of being, but don't really know how to get there. That's where I come in. I train women to be exceptional leaders by starting with themselves. And I'm so excited. It's an amazing program. If you're curious about it, you should reach out and give me a call. I'll drop in the comments below a link for how you can book a call with me. I'm only accepting 3 more women into this cohort. So there's still space available. And it's an amazing journey. So reach out if that sounds like something that you're curious about. And I would love to speak with you one-on-one. That's all I've got for now. Go well.